Welcome back, Thriver. I am Brittany Cole, of course, your host here on the Career Thrivers podcast and your partner in developing your capacity to lead well. Now, today we're going to be diving into this entire realm of habits, instincts, and taking action. These are elements that are truly foundational to your success across your life, right? In the area of your personal finances, your career, your business, your health and wellness, right? Having those habits, those instincts, and taking action is critical, especially in your leadership journey. Now, you might be wondering, why are we tackling this topic this early in the season? Well, I'll share from personal experience. As some of you might remember, you might be a subscriber of the podcast here that joined us when we launched at the beginning of the pandemic. And you know that we've been on a hiatus for more than a year. And one of the reasons why this podcast was on a hiatus is because I did not establish a consistent system to support my content creation. So despite having a passion, having great intentions, aspiring to have a very successful podcast and to be here to share resources and tools and inspire you, I didn't have the proper routine. I didn't have the proper habits, and I found it very challenging to maintain consistency. But here we are. I'm back. We're back. We're more organized. And I am excited to share in this episode some of the resources, some of the tools, and even some of the inspiration in books that have been helpful for me to put into action to help me to be more consistent in creating great habits and to help you do the same to thrive in your career. Now, I know when I think about, designating time for content creation and thinking about then versus now, right? It's important to have that designated time to create those habits. And again, to really build that consistent process and system to be able to share with you. I have a mentor, Marshawn Evans Daniels, and she often says, and it's like a saying that's etched in my mind, that every struggle is the sign of a missing system. So let's kick things off to help you develop a system for creating great habits with this first principle around don't think, but do. Now, y'all, I got to tell you, this was like one of those paradigm shifting principles for me that I learned from Tim Grover. Now, you may not be familiar with that name, but he has trained some of the world's greatest athletes like both Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And he has this philosophy around trusting your preparation, trusting your skills, trusting your instincts, and then taking action, right? And as leaders, I believe that is so important because sometimes we overthink. Right? I know I'm not the only one, right? We overthink situations, we overthink decisions, we overthink those crossroads moments, and that can lead to indecision. That can lead to missed opportunities. It can even lead to stagnation in our life and career. So the mantra here is simple, right? Trust your preparation, trust your instincts, and take the leap. Right? Now, I mentioned trusting your instincts. So let's talk about that for a little bit. So in his book, it's called Relentless, and I'm actually listening to it on Audible. Grover emphasizes this value of trusting your gut or trusting your instincts. And I believe this is probably one of the biggest lessons that I've had to really learn and a skill that I've had to really hone over these last 4 years. Now, when you think about your instincts, right, your instincts are built on experience. They're built on knowledge. They're built on the wisdom that you've extrapolated from those experiences. So they're not random, right? They're a form of rapid cognition, of tapping into this deep well of accumulated understanding and experience that you've gained through life, right? So your instincts are really your guide, especially when things get challenging. And one of the biggest mistakes that we often make, especially if you think about the intersection of gender and race, oftentimes we are taught to second guess our instincts, right? We have a gut reaction to something, but we overthink it and we end up in indecision.
Hey Thriver, have you ever had that feeling like you're doing all of the things, but you're still in the same place? If you're ready to unleash your full potential and to move beyond feeling stuck, stagnant, overlooked, and overwhelmed, you're in the right place. I have an exciting tool for you called the Own Your Power Checklist, and it's the ultimate guide to helping you to own your personal power to thrive as a leader. Now, this checklist is going to help you to do 4 things. Number 1, it's going to help you to own your unique personal power and to really wield it. It's going to help you to embrace your authenticity, to develop self-awareness, to take ownership and hold yourself accountable. And then lastly, how to trust your instincts and turn those obstacles into opportunities. I'm so excited for you to cultivate an authentic personal brand and remain resilient without it costing you your well-being. Why? Well, because now is the time. Now is the time for you to move beyond the barriers and to create new opportunities. Now is the time for you to stop being passed over and to start being recommended in rooms that you're not even in. Now is the time for you to stop feeling stuck and stagnant and to align your strengths to accelerate your growth. Now is the time for you to step into the leader that you were always meant to be. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Click the link to download the Own Your Power checklist now. Take the next step towards owning your personal power and thriving as a leader. Get your checklist today at careerthrivers.com/podcast. It's your time to thrive.
So we want to really think about this in a comprehensive way to help us to build these great habits. Now, before we move on to the next part, let's take just a brief exploration of why we often fail at building better habits, right? Why is that? Why is that? Why is it that despite our best intention, right, even with this podcast, right, in the example of my story, we sometimes falter? Well, psychologically, habits are difficult to establish because they often require us to override our existing routine and our existing comfort zone. So when we think about this situationally, we often fail because of our environment, right? Our environment isn't conducive to supporting the new habit. And this, my friend, is one of the biggest takeaways from James Clear. He's the author of New York Times bestselling book, Atomic Habits. And I encourage you to get a copy of this book or to download it on Audible. Stay tuned for the Career Thrivers Book Club, right? We'll definitely be diving into this, but I highly recommend this book as a great guide to creating habits that stick, right? That stick with you because you have actionable strategies. And one of those actionable strategies that Clear talks about in this book is called habit stacking, right? And habit stacking is where you attach a new habit to an already existing one to make it easier, right? To make it stick, right? Another one that you can think about, and we talked a little bit about this, is environment design, right? That's where you alter your surroundings to support your new habit. When I was building the habit of writing to publish my first book, Thrive Through It, I had to reset my environment, right? I had to put my laptop in a place where I know I'm going to write, right? Weekly. So take a moment to reflect, right? How can you stack your desired habits onto an existing one? And how can you tweak your environment to make that new habit formation easier, right? It might mean getting into a space where you know, hey, this is my focus zone. This is the place where I'm journaling every day, or I'm reading every day, or I'm writing every day, or I'm exercising every day, right? I'm laying my clothes out. What is that shift in your environment that you can make to make that habit stick? All right. Now, in order to make the habit stick, we've got to change our mindset, right? We've got to change our mindset to build those atomic habits. And so Clear talks about in the book proposing identity-based habits, right? And that's where you become the kind of person who can achieve the desired outcome. And I believe this is powerful, right? It's about not just doing the action, but really challenging your own self-perception and really recognizing the power of small wins, right? Those tiny incremental, milestones of progress that you make over time can lead to significant changes. And it also really helps you to come into alignment with seeing yourself how you want to be seen, right? If you want to publish a book, you want to call yourself a writer, you got to do the things that writers do. They write, right? So this brings us to a critical aspect of discussion. That's understanding who you want to become. Now, the power of owning your identity, of truly knowing who you are, knowing who you want to become, it can't be underestimated. I don't care where you are in your career, how many roles, how many titles, organizations that you've been a part of. So I want to encourage you to think about who you want to become, right? At where you are in your career right now, in your leadership journey, and then imagine what are the habits that person would need to thrive. That's where your power to create transformative habits truly lies. All right, so let's commit to doing that together. I want to encourage you to carve out some time to actually open up your calendar, your Google calendar, Teams, whatever it is that you use, right? And to schedule some time to reflect. I want to give you some questions that you can ask yourself. These are questions that I use. 1, what habits does the future me need to have, right? 2, what steps can I take today to start building these habits? And 3, how can I alter my environment? What do I need to shift in my environment to support these new habits? And when you think the environment, I want you to think about your home, your office, right? Where you work, your circle, right? Your community, your network. All of those things impact your environment and impact your ability to create habits that stick. So there you have it, Thriver. From trusting your instincts to crafting atomic habits that really stick and stay with you, and then changing your mindset to become that future me today. It all plays an essential role in helping you to become an effective leader. So take that time, make the time to understand and to truly own your power, and watch. Watch how you transform not only your leadership, but transform the lives of the people that you're connected with and transform your life. Keep thriving, and remember, every day is a new opportunity to grow, to improve, and to thrive. Until next time, let's thrive together.